Hey guys, what's up? What is going on out there today? Hey, it's Brent Abel here, WebTennis.com with yet another episode of What's the Right Shot, number 410. And we're just cruising along, cooking along here every day, usually live. What's that on my lip? A little, might be a little blueberry muffin. Sorry about that. Yeah, we're just cruising along here every day. Typically, What's the Right Shot is live. Once in a great while, I got to do a pre-record. But hey, Rich, good morning. Good morning. Great to have you with me as always. Um, and then the afternoons, I am doing these days. It's been last couple of days it's actually been live, but typically it's been a pre-record. We do the Tennis Mindset Project, just a short little message, the mental skills required to become a top player, to be a consistently good player. And that is a little video that I put out there around 2 o'clock, 2:30 every day, Pacific time zone in the afternoon. I do not send out an email with a link to that. So you got to make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel so that that you also click that notification bell so that you are reminded or alerted every time I go live or upload some new content. So, guys, hope you had a great weekend. I am flying solo this morning. Jeff texted me earlier, said he's on the road to parts unknown. That boy, he's a wandering minstrel from time to time, getting out there, and he may be teaching some down the Bay Area today. I'm not sure. But anyway, all good. Look, I got a short little message for you today on the return to serve and something that I do when I'm practicing. And I'm going to kind of go through, I'm going to pick it apart for you. You can do this in both singles and doubles, but it's for me anyway, it really helps me be more consistent returning serve. And look, we all know that the two most important shots in the game are the serve, getting the thing in play, right? Not double faulting, and not just throwing in a fat sitter that returner can take advantage of. So that's one. But number two is return to serve as well, right? Not that you've got to put the server under immediate distress, but you've got to be consistently putting the ball back in play. And again, like the serve, putting it back in play, but doing it in such a way that at worst case, the point starts off neutral, right? So we're going to go through that this morning. Let me get over to this screen right here. And let's take a look at this video I've got for you. Where are we here? So practice, and this is something you can pick out. I'm going to show you 5 things that I do. I get a little detailed sometimes in practice, and I got to make sure that when I do that, that I'm really, really focused on just one of those 5 things. I'm not trying to multitask. And I think like I said the other day, maybe it was yesterday, that, you know, pick out one thing and do it for a couple of days. And really, I'll show you the one thing that I've been doing for the last few days that I'm going to continue working on today as well. But here's what I've got for you on this return to serve, and that is number one. And we're going to talk about seeing the tennis ball, and seeing the tennis ball is, is that one of the oldest teaching cliches of all time? Well, watch the ball. Okay, obviously, you got to see the tennis ball. But is there a better way to do it on your return to serve? How can you practice watching the ball on the return to serve in such a way that it makes you a much more consistent shot maker when you're returning serve, right? I mean, too often, right, we're sitting here returning serve and our brain is into a lot of that. Well, I'm going to do this. And yet you might have the right intention, you might have the right tactical focus of what you want to do. Of course, when we're returning serve, where it's not really in our control, just because you say, well, I'm going to hit a topspin drive backhand return to serve, that's great only if that server delivers that kind of serve to you where you can do that. I mean, if they don't, if they jam you and you still try to top it, problem, right? If they take you out wide and kick you up high and you still try to drive it, problem. So a lot of this when you're returning serve, for me anyway, is just more about instincts. And instincts for me are based on I got to see the tennis ball. I really got to see the tennis ball. So first thing I do is before the server starts their motion, right? I might have already thought about a tactical focus in a match, but in the practice, and we're talking about practice, we're talking about the Allen Iverson. It's just practice, man. We're not talking about the game. Sorry. Anyway, and if you haven't seen that video, just go to Google when we're done and just put in Allen Iverson practice, and it's a good chuckle, that's for sure. Um, so the first thing I do is first thing I do is I make sure that my hands are soft on the racket, right? There's no clenching, there's no tightness, and especially if it's a big point in the match, you want to have already practiced that you've got soft hands, because if you have any strength, if you have any tension in your hands before that toss goes up, I'm telling you, whether the serve goes to your right or goes to your left, you just don't get into a full turn in reaction to the direction of that incoming serve. We've got to get a full turn, full shoulder turn in reaction to either forehand or backhand. So one of the first things I check, soft hands. Do my hands feel soft? Am I barely holding the racket? In fact, I'm holding it more with my left hand. As a right-handed player, I'm holding it more with my left hand, and just kind of I mean, could you come over there and pull the racket away from me? Yeah, you could. I mean, my right hand would just easily let go. So number one, soft hands. Number two, find the ball in the server's hand. Visually find the ball in the server's hand, right? I think too often we don't do that. We're just kind of looking at the general landscape out there. You want to, right from the beginning, before they start their tossing motion, you want to lock onto the tennis ball in their hand. The next thing is, as the toss goes up, what do? You visually lock only on the ball. You're not looking at the whole peripheral of the whole package over there, right? You're not looking at the guy, you're not looking at his racket, you're not looking at his service motion, you're not looking at his tossing arm, you're looking only at the tennis ball. And the reason for that is when the ball comes off his racket, you're going to pick it up sooner. I know it might just be a nanosecond sooner, but you're going to pick that ball up sooner off his racket if you've visually locked on the ball before he makes contact, right? So that's number two, visually lock only on the ball. The next thing is to make sure that you are, and here it is, that you're looking down at the ball as it's bouncing up to you out of the service box. I think this is, I heard this thing way back in the day. And someone asked Margaret Court, right? The all time leader in Grand Slam titles, asked her about how do you, so it was some, I can't remember what the question was, but it was something about the return to serve. And she said for her, the most important thing was to watch the ball bouncing out of her service box, out of the service box up into her. And she said she really looked down into the bounce, right? She looked down at the ball into the bounce. And so there was no peripheral visual thing going on to where she was seeing, maybe peripherally what's going on over there on the other side of the net as the ball is now bouncing up to her, right? She just completely, and so that's a thing that we can practice. And that for me, when I'm locked into the return to serve and I'm really returning serve well in either singles or doubles, that's a big component of being consistent, at least for me, in returning serve, is visually looking down at the bounce and watching it come up, and not looking out into the landscape. The next part of this is to be sure that at contact, I like to feel that my head is sideways to the net. I know that might sound a little goofy, but I just find that if I've got my shoulders, if my shoulder turn is completed, and sometimes, even if it's not fully completed, I can kind of artificially make it that way by making sure that my head, forehand or backhand, is sideways to the net, if that makes sense, right? Because when I do that, I have a better tendency to and I know everyone says, well, you can't literally see the ball make contact. Okay, that's fine. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's not. I doesn't matter. What does matter is that at contact, for me anyway, I've got my head sideways to the net, and my eyes are also looking down into the contact point, right? So, and then the next part of this is I want to at as the ball leaves my racket, I don't want to, I we don't want to be peaking, P-E-E-K. I like to feel the return. I like to feel what I've done at contact. And in terms of I want to feel kind of what's the quality and without needing visual confirmation of what you've just done is you can feel what you've done. You can feel without seeing it. You can feel the quality. You can feel the height that is going over the net without getting visual confirmation of that. You can feel the depth. You can feel the spin. You can feel all kinds of different things without needing visual contact. And typically, what happens is we don't do that. Typically, what happens is right before contact is we start to turn our head open towards the court so that we can get visual confirmation of what we're about to do, right? So we're one step ahead of ourselves in that thing. So yeah, there is a moment in time here where you're feeling contact. The ball has left your racket. It's close to crossing the net, and you're not looking at it, right? You just are sort of flying blind, if you will, for a nanosecond there, as you're trusting that what's really important here is your body alignment, your head alignment, your eyes. What are they focused on as you make contact? And I like to over exaggerate this feeling the return and not doing any kind of visual confirmation. And I'm shocked. I'm always shocked at how long I can keep that head still, those eyes down at contact. And then when I feel the return, I come back up and look. And the first thing I do is I just find the ball. I don't find the opponent, right? Out of my peripheral, you can see the opponent, but I want to now find the ball again, right? What's one of the things that we did with the return of serve in the beginning, right? Is we locked visually on the server's toss, right? Left his hand, hasn't hit the ball yet, but we found the ball, right? Because that's, at least for me, I pick it up sooner. Other than this other stuff about, well, just watch the racket and watch that opponent's racket, and that'll give you all the information. Okay, I agree that that's somewhat important, but I do that out of my peripheral. I don't need to. I don't need to lose sight of the ball itself and look at the guy's racket after the return to know what's about to happen. I want to find the ball, and that's what I'm going to stay locked on. So let's just take a quick look in slow mo here of what we just talked about, and look, it's something that you can pick out. You can pick out any one of those five things today when you're on the court and practice. Right? You don't need to think of all five things. I'll tell you what I do. I'll make a little checklist for you, and I'll send it out in this afternoon's email to you of these five things that we just talked about. But they're absolutely crucial that you practice it. Number one, if you want to be a consistent shot maker with the return to serve. And all we talk, I mean, we didn't talk about technique. We didn't talk about swing technique. We did talk about simply how do you get a better visual lock on the tennis ball, which is kind of important in terms of when do you deliver the racket against the ball, right? If your vision is wide, right? It's really out there and you're seeing the entire landscape. Okay, all right. But that doesn't help you with timing, with contact, doesn't help you with your unique swing tech and then being able to to be able to deliver the racket at just the right moment that you want to be able to play the return to serve so that at worst case, right? Worst case, the point starts off neutral, right? That's all that we're trying to do. I mean, in this case here with this return, I actually played the return probably a little better than what I intended to. It went more up the line, maybe pulled the guy out wide, whatever. Doesn't matter. What does matter is that you get out there and you practice this stuff and you practice it a lot. It's not a one-time thing where you go out and you say, all right, well, I'm going to cherry pick number 3 of those 5 things that Brent mentioned today, and I'll work on that for 4 returns. Come on. Look, is the game that easy? No. So be in the tiny percentage of players where you've decided, I'm going to cherry pick whatever one of those 5 things. I'm going to cherry pick number 4, for example. And for the entire week this week, starting April 1st today, I'm going to only work on that on my return. All right. You'll be in like the under 5% of the players that will do that. That's good news for you. Yeah, there'll be some boring times in there when you're doing it, but the end result's going to be your return to serve is going to be a whole lot better. And the important thing here is that it's going to be a lot more consistent of you putting the ball back in play. So be that guy. Be in the big time minority. Like a hitter in baseball, Rich, sing the ball early, got to do it. Yeah, I mean, what is the toughest thing in sports? Thank you, Ted Williams, hitting a baseball, no question. Even though you don't have to move, right? In tennis, we have a moving tennis ball. That's a big deal. And we have to move. That's a big deal, right? Plus, as Rich, come on, man. We already know what side of the plate we're going to hit from. In tennis, we don't, right? When we're returning serve, we don't know if we're going to be a right-handed hitter or a left-handed hitter. We don't know if we got to move out of the batter's box and slightly, or if we get to stand there, or, if the pitcher's going for it, right? He's serving in some chin music, right? We got to get out of the way. So tennis is a unique deal, different than golf. The ball's sitting there. You get to go ahead and work your way up to the golf ball, get set up, get any way you want. I'm not saying golf isn't tough, because it's real tough, but tennis presents a different, unique challenge in terms of those 2 things. A moving ball, and we have to move. Well, there's really three things. We don't know which side we're going to hit from, right? And then once we decide that, then we got to move to it. The ball's moving. Anyway, tennis not easy, right? That's why be in that minority group of the under 5% of the guys who will actually get out there and look at epiphanies as the starting point to getting better, and then just practice that epiphany like a dog, just like a dog, right? And just get bored, and just keep going and keep going. And I guarantee you, you will, you'll be a much better player. All right, guys, hope this has helped today. Where are we? Let's see. Let's get this video going again. You know what I would really love would be for you to do a couple things, 3 things. Number 1, if you like the video today, please click that like button. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, YouTube channel, please do so. If you're over on Facebook, it would really help not only me, but I think it would help other tennis players out there as well, get the word out about what we're doing here, what's the right shot. Go on over to YouTube and click that subscribe button, and then make sure that you click the notification bell as well, so that you are notified every time I go live and or upload new content to my YouTube WebTennis channel. Guys, that's it. And then one more thing. Look, if you're looking for some extra help with your game, right? If you really are serious, that kind of player where you want to be, where you know that you're in that minority group that really wants to become a better player, and you're willing to do the work, and meaning that you do want to become better. You've got a vision of what that better looks like, and you want help getting there, hit me up. Shoot me an email, brent@webtennis.com. I will tell you what I've got for a one-on-one coaching program, and you can decide if that might be a good fit for where you want to take your game or not. Brent@webtennis.com. All right, guys, that is it for me today. Let's get out there let's cherry pick one of the things we talked about today and just practice it like a dog. And then as we're doing that, let's get out there. Let's help someone else have a spectacular day. Guys, see you again next time.